Let's talk about non-alcoholic drink alternatives. I don't have any limes on hand. Usually that is better, so a little wedge of lemon is gonna have to do here. This is so good. When I started my YouTube channel and posted my 1 year sober video, I didn't expect so many people to watch my content in the first place, but for so many people to share their own struggles with alcohol and drinking in today's culture, and I didn't expect to get the kind of traction that some of my videos have gotten. And I've tried to be really good about responding to comments and answering questions that come in. And today I wanted to sit down and talk a little bit about something that comes up quite often, which is non-alcoholic drink alternatives or alcohol alternatives, which I have talked about in my 1 year sober video and my sobriety tip video, and it's something that I'm very passionate about, so I wanted to do a dedicated video, and this is actually going to be more of like a series because there's so much out there today, which is something that I feel very blessed for. Not drinking alcohol has not in any way limited my options as someone who is a big beverage person and loves beer and wine and cocktails. So it's been really exciting to be able to enjoy all of those things without the consequences and all the negative side effects of alcohol consumption. And like I said, I didn't expect so many people to watch my content. Obviously, this is not what I do full time. It's something that I kind of started on the side because I wanted to contribute to the conversation and this space of talking about sobriety, especially as a young person. One of the things that helped me so much, especially in the beginning, especially when I was struggling to quit drinking, was watching other people, other young women talking about their journeys on social media. And so I really wanted to sort of give back to that community by sharing my story and hopefully reaching someone who might need to hear that message or hear that hope that I hope my videos portray and share. And I've received such wonderful feedback and such a great response on this platform that I definitely want to make more videos. And this is gonna be a fun series for me because I'm a big beverage girly. I was when I was a drinker and I still am today. I hit 2 years sober this year, which is a huge milestone and super exciting, and it's also wild to me that it's already been 2 years. But today I wanted to talk about something that I'm very passionate about, and that is alcohol-free beer. So this is going to be my beer video talking about my favorite beer alternatives that I've tried. I'm also going to make one dedicated to wine and one dedicated to sort of cocktails and spirits. But beer was my drink of choice when I was a drinker. I was a big craft beer person, and beer is still my thing. So let's talk a little bit about what my beer drinking looks like today and some recommendations I can give if you are interested in trying some near beers. There's a couple of things that I want to talk about before we dive in, and this is something that has come up in comments on my other videos where I've talked about you know, how important non-alcoholic drinks were to me when I was first getting sober, and that I'm a big fan of sort of drink alternatives. Now I want to, you know, disclose in the beginning here that non-alcoholic drinks are not for everybody, and that's something that you have to figure out for yourself. And I do think that's something that you should really take your own feelings of how you want to approach it. Don't listen to other people talk about it. Some people are adamantly against non-alcoholic drink alternatives, which is totally fine if that's what they feel for themselves. Some people might find that they are triggering or that they become like a slippery slope into drinking alcohol again. That is not an experience that I've had. So that's something that you have to figure out for yourself. Again, I'm not trying to make anyone drink non-alcoholic beer. That's not the point of this video. But if you are a beer lover, there are options out there that are better than the alcoholic version because you get the flavor and the experience and the excitement of drinking a fun beer without all of the negative consequences of alcohol, which is, if you've ended up on this video, might be something that you've experienced already yourself. Maybe you're trying to cut back, and that's totally cool too. That's you know, a great place to start is sort of substituting some of the drinks that you have every week with a non-alcoholic alternative. When I was first looking to stop drinking alcohol, I was in therapy, and my therapist had sort of said something that really stuck with me. When you remove something, especially something that takes up a big part of your life, you have to put something there in its place. because otherwise you create a vacuum and then anything else can rush in. So a lot of times when people, you know, are trying to quit drinking or trying to quit smoking or whatever your bad habit might be, you can end up sort of filling that space with something else. Anything that, again, becomes that habitual replacement for the other bad thing that you were trying to replace, which doesn't really help the situation. So one thing that I prepared for the last time I quit drinking successfully was having something to drink, something to grab when I really wanted a beer or whatever, that was harm reduction, that wouldn't cause the negative outcome that I was trying to avoid in the long term. And for me, non-alcoholic beers were a huge part of my sobriety success. I have mentioned in previous videos that I got O'Doul's. It was my first non-alcoholic drink that I had tried. You have them, I think, everywhere in the country. They're at grocery stores. It's like $7 in Maryland for a 6-pack. And I think they're actually really good. Both the green and the red amber one are really yummy. And I had my fridge stacked with O'Doul's when I first quit drinking. And anytime I wanted a beer, I would chug an O'Doul's. And while it didn't have the alcohol, obviously, it filled the oral fixation of having something in my hand that I was drinking. It filled the taste that I was looking for, and helped me overcome those moments of that craving. In my 2 years since I quit drinking, since I started with O'Doul's, I've lost count of how many different non-alcoholic beers I've tried, and today there are hundreds, if not thousands, of different options for people who don't drink or people who are just trying to cut back or looking for something non-alcoholic to sip on that isn't like a soft drink. One thing that I also want to note, which comes up a lot in my comments, is something that people seem to misunderstand a little bit, and I want to get that clarified as well. Non-alcoholic beer, or alcohol-free beer, interchangeable, can contain up to 0.5% alcohol. So in this case, it says contains less than 0.5 alcohol by volume. I've had people comment on my videos talking about how that's not sobriety. If I'm drinking non-alcoholic beer, there's still alcohol in it. And I just want to clarify this real quick. I actually have something to demonstrate. These are some hamburger buns, something that you might consume on a weekly basis, something that is pretty much a staple in every household that children eat. The thing that causes alcohol to produce in foods and beverages is fermentation. When bread is made, there is a fermentation that takes place as well. It's what gives bread that beautiful rise and that bubbly texture. That's all fermentation. It's a magical thing. You might not know that a hamburger bun, for example, has alcohol in it as well, just as a byproduct of creating bread. Now, the ABV of this non-alcoholic Corona is less than 0.5%. Don't know exactly how much it is, but to be classified as non-alcoholic, as a non-alcoholic drink, it has to be less than 0.5%. So that's what this is. Now, guess the ABV of this hamburger bun. I feel like I need a dramatic pause for you to guess, so I'll wait for a second. Come up with a number. If this is 0.5%, what do you think the ABV of this hamburger bun is? On average, a hamburger bun is about 1.28% ABV. That's almost 3 times the amount of maximum alcohol that's in this beverage. This kind of trace amount of alcohol is found in things like juices, kombucha, fruit. Now, the point of this comparison is just to highlight that having like trace amounts of alcohol is not the same thing as drinking an alcoholic beverage. You could not get drunk eating hamburger buns, and you cannot get drunk drinking non-alcoholic beer. Now, this is talking about a standard metabolism. With the amount of alcohol that's in this, even if you were to chug a 6-pack of non-alcoholic Coronas at the speed at which your body metabolizes alcohol and the amount of alcohol that's in these beverages, it is physically impossible for you to get intoxicated off non-alcoholic beers. There's a great study conducted in Germany that actually tested this on a group of people drinking 1.5 liters of non-alcoholic beer and measuring their blood alcohol level afterwards. I will have that linked in the description if you wanted to look into it further. The point being that drinking a non-alcoholic replacement beverage is not going to get you drunk. It is not cheating on your sobriety. If it's something that is triggering to you, that's something for you to figure out on your own. You don't ever have to drink them. That's totally fine. But I just wanted to get that out of the way as well. There are also non-alcoholic beers and other alternatives that are 0.0% alcohol. So that is also out there if you're not comfortable with the little bit of alcohol that is in here. Now let's dive into the good stuff, talking about some of my favorite non-alcoholic beers. I know in my area, grocery stores carry non-alcoholic options. I'm seeing more and more of them all over the place, which is awesome. Liquor and beer stores also carry non-alcoholic drink alternatives. Again, that's something for you to know for yourself, whether you're comfortable enough to go into a liquor store if you are trying to be sober. So let's dive in. Starting with number one, I already talked about it. O'Doul's is one of my favorite non-alcoholic beer alternatives, mostly because it's just a sentimental part of my sobriety journey. O'Doul's was there for me in my roughest spots and really got me through sort of the darkest part and the hardest part of my sobriety, which I will never forget. It also tastes really good and it's really affordable. And if you like a light beer that's just really easy drinking, you can get it at grocery stores. You pop them in the fridge ice cold. They're really, really tasty. They've been around forever, I believe. So, all right, with my honorable mention out of the way, let's dive into some other of my favorite beers. I'm drinking a Corona right now. This is probably in my top 3 best non-alcoholic beers. This stuff is so good with a little bit of lime or lemon if you don't have lime. Tastes like the real thing. I haven't had the real thing in a while, but the people who do still drink have tried this and really, really like it. This is one of my favorites. I'm gonna group this one into a category which is non-alcoholic versions of already existing alcoholic beverages. A lot of beer brands have released a non-alcoholic version of their alcoholic beverages. Corona is one of my favorites. Guinness has a non-alcoholic version that is also top tier. Really, really good. Tastes like the real thing, pours like the real thing. If you like Guinness, definitely check that one out. Budweiser has one. Coors has one. Stella Artois has one, which is also really good. I saw Blue Moon has a non-alcoholic beer that I've not tried, but I definitely want to because I loved Blue Moon. Heineken Zero is actually a 0.0% alcohol beverage, and theirs is super delicious. I recommend getting them in the bottle, but they also have a canned version. Those are really great as well. Perfect for the summer, light drinking. Tons of German beer brands have non-alcoholic beers that I've seen in the US as well. Bitburger, Erdinger, Weihenstephaner has a fantastic non-alcoholic beer as well. The imported ones I find mostly at liquor stores, but they have them if your grocery stores carry alcohol. Often they have like a spot in those aisles as well. But the non-alcoholic sort of domestic brands I've seen everywhere as well. On my wish list for a non-alcoholic beer is Yuengling. Moving to the area, I loved Yuengling when I was drinking. It's a really good, easy beer, and I'd love to see them come out with a non-alcoholic alternative. Especially because historically they actually produced non-alcoholic sort of malt beverages during Prohibition. So I'd love to see that make a comeback. Yuengling, if you see this, make a non-alcoholic beer. So that's a great first step. If you know that you like a certain brand of beer, try their non-alcoholic version. Corona, Heineken, Guinness, and Stella are my favorite. Those are also the beers that I see most commonly at restaurants. Heineken Zero is everywhere in my area. Most restaurants carry it. I know that our Irish pubs in the area also have the Guinness Zero, and I love a Guinness at the pub. Next category is the IPAs, the craft beers, of which there are, again, so many amazing beers out there. If you're a big craft beer drinker, this is probably one of the best categories to have non-alcoholic drinks in. There is so much out there that you'll never run out of things to try. So some of my favorite brands. Again, some of these brands also produce alcoholic beverages and then have like a non-alcoholic section, which is great. I love to see that. Some of these are exclusively non-alcoholic brands. Number one is Athletic Brewing. Athletic Brewing is exclusively a non-alcoholic beer brand. They are incredible. It's also one of the first beers that I got into because they're just wildly available where I am, and I'm pretty sure they have beer everywhere in the country. They even have them on tap at certain locations, which is, again, amazing to see. Athletic has a ton of different kinds of beers. I have not had a bad beer from Athletic. Some of my favorites are the Light, Athletic Brewing Light, which is your classic, easy drinking light beer. All of their IPAs are great, really, really tasty. All of theirs are top notch. A couple breweries that produce alcoholic beer and also non-alcoholic beer that I love are Brewdog. Brewdog has like a big mix pack that they do, and it's like 4 different varieties or 3 different varieties that are all incredible, all in that sort of craft beer style. Another one is Brooklyn Brewery. I have one that I have in the fridge. This is their Special Effects series, which is their non-alcoholic line, I believe. This is the grapefruit IPA, really delicious. I was just at a bachelorette and I brought like a 12-pack, mixed pack of the Brooklyn Brewery beers that had like an IPA and a golden in there, and they were all really good, and the grapefruit's really delicious too. And then in its own category, I mean, it's a craft beer, but also like the sours and stouts and just really interesting, creative beers is called Untitled Art. They are a brewery based out of Wisconsin, and I believe they also produce alcoholic beer, but they have a fantastic collection of non-alcoholic beers that are like really fun and different, and I pick them up every once in a while just to try something new. They had a fantastic like passion fruit sour. They had a stout, an Italian pils that I loved. Lots of different kinds of sours if you're into that, and lots of great stouts. So they are just a really fun brewery that produces a ton of different variety, and I've loved all of their beers as well. Also, apologies if the light keeps changing the video. The sun keeps like going in and out from behind clouds, so working around a beautiful spring day out there. But that about sums up all of my sort of top non-alcoholic beer alternatives, my recommendations for you to try if you're looking to get into non-alcoholic beer, whether you're sober or trying to cut back. Beer's empty, video's done. Thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully this video was helpful. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel for my next non-alcoholic drink alternatives. I'll probably do wine next, and then spirits, cocktails, and what to order when you're out if they don't have non-alcoholic beer. And feel free to check out my previous videos on sobriety tips and a little bit on my journey. As always, thank you so much for being here. If you have a question or a thought or some encouragement for someone else, leave a comment. I love reading them. I always try to reply. And if you have any questions, leave them down below as well. I'll probably try to do a Q&A video dedicated to answering a lot of the questions that I've gotten on my videos that sort of come up repeatedly, or just questions that you might have, whatever it is. Leave a comment down below and I'll do a dedicated video answering some of those. Hopefully these suggestions inspired you. I hope you get to try some of them out. If you do try one, let me know what you think, or if you have other ones that I might have forgotten. Obviously, like I said, there's so many out there that I love. I probably missed something, so if you have any other suggestions, leave them in the comments as well. I'm gonna stop rambling and wrap up this video. Thank you for being here. Hopefully I'll see you in my next video. Until then.